Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the GuildMag podcast, live on a Sunday morning. And of course I'm joined by Casey. How are you, dear?
I'm good.
I gave you a chance to unmute your mic. Did you see it? I was like stalling and stalling.
Yeah. I should tell you, when I was recording, I realized that it is not me. There's a fault in the button. When I press the button, it clicks, but it doesn't actually go like turn on. So it's not me. It's the microphone.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Yeah, better.
So yeah, it is our 20th episode, and today we're going to be talking about lots of things. We've got data mine stuff, the camera changes, the Wyvern blog post that was released Wednesday, Thursday this week, and yeah, lots of cool stuff. So a couple of, I guess, housekeeping things to go through first is this week or last week, a week ago today on GuildMag, issue 14 was released. Yay!
Can I just say, this is the best looking issue I've ever seen. It is really good. Did you do it?
I wonder who designed it. I mean, I just don't know. I mean,
and it's very interesting. It's all about. Oh, sorry, you gone. You gone. I was just gushing there because I really liked it.
I was just gonna say. So it's all about Cantha, in celebration of Lunar/Canthan/Chinese New Year. So we did a whole issue on Canthan. There's tons of stuff in it. There's a cool Canthan timeline, which wasn't designed by me actually. It was designed by our new designer, who's done a couple of articles. We've got stuff on the Tengu, if you're into that. We've got fiction. We've got so much stuff in it, and it is such a cool issue. And I agree. I actually think it's one of our best looking to date. So
yeah,
definitely check it out if you're interested. And if you've never played Guild Wars Factions, there's a really good sort of primer on what you've missed, why everyone's so interested in it. So do go and check that out. And another thing I wanted to bring up is just a reminder for Casey's Lore and Explore series.
Yay!
So, do you want to explain what that is then, since it's your little baby?
Oh, it is my little baby. I quite enjoy doing it. So every Thursday when the podcast used to be the time slot, I basically do an hour, and I call it Casey's Lore and Explore, which is basically us running around. I choose a topic. For example, the first one I ever did, which is probably the best it's ever going to get, was the script one. And I used, because I know everything about the script. Like, I don't think there's anyone in the entire world who knows more about the script than me.
I don't think there is.
So I just basically spent, I think that one was a bit longer, an hour and a half, just talking about the script and stuff like that. That was more podcasty, but I kind of used the game to show what was going on. The normal format of it is I choose a subject, such as, like, the most recent one was the Hylek, and we go around to Hylek areas and we talk to people, and I read out the lore of the NPCs and we talk about the lore. I talk about it with people in chat, and we kind of discover the lore as we're exploring together, which is a lot of fun.
It's literally the title, Lore and Explore. That literally sums up what happens on the street.
I'm very good at being very straightforward.
I just want to say that was a great selling point. The script one was the best it was probably ever going to get, but tune in anyway. The other ones will be all right.
I kind of meant like this. When I realized afterwards just how much information I packed into the script one, is like, I cannot do this every week. You know, this is everything. Like, I don't think even the designers have that much information on script written down, you know. So it's kind of a lot more casual than the first one is, because I realized that it was just way too, like, had to push forward through topics and I couldn't stop and chat with people. So it's now a little bit more easygoing.
So that's every Thursday, 10 a.m. GMT. If you're watching this live right now, it's this time every Thursday on twitch.tv/GuildMag. So definitely go and check it out. It's great. Unfortunately, I tend to sleep through them because I now get a lie-in on Thursdays. But I was there for the end of the script one, which was really good.
The Velda kind of
oh right, Veldarky. I'm not even gonna attempt that either.
You just did. But he or she asked, where is that script that's in love? And I think that's actually asking about when I talked about it, near the Brill Alliance Labs. It's BRILL Alliance Labs. There's an event where you have to go and help them catch a scrit, and when you capture the scrit, they're the ones that are in love. And there's also one in Sparkfly Fen. If it's on my podcast, it should show you where around. If it's on the stream, it should show you where they are. So I just saw that question. I wanted to get.
There you go. That's why you should tune in. You can ask questions like that and get answers.
Yeah, and I can actually show you on the show instead of like here trying to explain it awkwardly.
So make sure you do go and check out that stream if you're free on Thursdays. So with that, I guess we should get into the show properly. I think we're going to kick things off with the data mine stuff. So do you want to?
Yes.
Do you want to talk us through that?
There's been so much data mine stuff. That shaman has been busy. So the first thing that came up, I don't have them in order, but I'm just going to go with it, was the Balthazar Outfit set that was data mined. And he's actually got a video, and I wonder if we can share the link.
Yeah,
see if I can get it up.
I'm way ahead of you. It's in chat. It's gone. It's done.
You're super professional here. I'm put to shame. But the Balthazar Outfit, you can kind of see it's aptly named because it looks very similar to the Balthazar back piece that you get through the PvP reward track. I'm like, what do trains go on? Tracks, okay. And it's got this fiery theme and it looks very good. Unfortunately, it looks like only the Char and the Azura models are up there at the moment. But I think it looks pretty cool, and I wonder if they're just going to release this as a PvP set, like the back piece.
That's interesting actually, because isn't the PvP World Tournament the world?
Wow, that is a uniquely named tournament.
I'm pretty sure the PvP World Tournament is at PAX next week, so maybe they'll be kind of doing something along that. I don't know. What I'm like more excited about than the actual outfit is the fact it actually looks good on Char for once. Like there's actually something that looks like it's been designed with Char in mind.
I have to say they seem to have been listening a lot recently, because the most recent outfit had the male and female versions of the not ancestral outfit, the lunar celebration outfit. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very Cancer themed. But they had male and female versions for Char and Azura, which they normally don't do. So I think they may be listening about the Char and also trying to make things work properly on them.
I'll be so happy when that day finally comes, and it's just I never have to go looking at that armor on a Char again.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where I've gone to make a Char and then I put a cryptid back piece and I've just seen that massive gap of like this thing hovering, and I'm like, no, I don't think I'll play my Char anymore. Like, I don't know why. It's not like a conscious thing, but so
we were actually talking about that on Friday, how just the massive gaps between Chars and like back pieces and like things, and that's just me with like my great sword out, just trying to slink away so no one can see.
No one look at my back piece. It's like when I see the small back piece on my Casey character, like it's just like a tiny slither. I go, ugh, and I change the angle because I don't like seeing it. But on Char, it's completely unavoidable.
So I think the actual Balthazar, is it an actual outfit or is it going to be armor? Because he says outfit. So.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like if I just saw that without like the title, to me I'd be like, well, that's armor. But it.
Yeah. He
uses the word outfit, so I'm guessing.
So maybe it is an outfit.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. Is that?
And I don't.
Do we have any other armor-looking outfits in the game at the moment? Because I can't think of one. They tend to be more town clothy, like fashiony, than actual armor.
But I mean, if they're going to give it as a prize at a tournament, it makes sense to make it a full outfit. But
I guess.
it's a very hard one.
It's interesting anyway. So the other thing that was data mined then is the Black Angel wings.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Oh,
Are you a fan of them?
Chat. I love them so much, and just because you asked me, it makes me think that you're not a fan of them.
When I see that, I just think, oh, we're going back to Aeon. Like, I have to
say that someone mentioned that that's not the right size, that the sizing actually was a bit weird and they were meant to be quite a bit smaller.
The wings?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes... I'm still like, when I look at it, I just think to myself, that doesn't belong in Guild Wars. Like, it looks very much like as if you're in Aeon or kind of one of those more sort of Asian Eastern MMOs, as opposed to Guild Wars 2, which is basically, like one of the most Western MMOs you could probably get. So...
But I think it's one of those things that you can't deny people want it. Like, you can't deny that people wouldn't kill for angel wings or things like that. I personally don't think they're going to be that large when they come out, because that just creates all sorts of clipping issues that the model is not designed for, that massive sort of wings. I think there'll be like smaller wings, like just, from your back sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I personally won't be getting them, but if I was in Aeon, I'd get them because I'm probably playing that to have wings. But I don't know, they feel a bit out of place in Guild Wars for me. I mean, where do they even come from? Are they meant to be like giant harpy wings or something? Because they've just like taken like the standard angel wing thing from like other MMOs and they've just plonked it into Guild Wars, and it's like, okay.
But you didn't ask that about the stunless wings.
Well, no, but you could at least argue something to do with the mists in there. You can argue that, but like
you couldn't make an argument that like some Tengu and human crossbred, and this is the the wings is the offspring.
I suppose.
Or even better, someone cut the wings off a Tengu and glued them to the back. That sounds awful, actually.
Oh, God, that's a bit gross.
A lot of people are mentioning that they want a former monk says, I gotta have those wings on my Azure Necro. A lot of Necros want those black wings.
Yeah, I could see that.
And a former monk also says, as long as the item is in the gem store and not not the game proper, I don't think it needs lore context.
I kind of agree, but at the same time, I feel like it needs to feel like it belongs in the game, because I mean you wouldn't suddenly see chocobo mounts in Guild Wars 2 because they belong in Final Fantasy. Like that, I feel
I'm
like
pretty sure they have a TM over the chocobo mount.
Okay, chocobo like mounts then, just basically giant chicken mounts. I mean you wouldn't
giant mowers, rideable mowers.
Well, you know what? They're kind of like chocobos actually, so maybe
they are.
Maybe my argument's a bit flawed. I'll come back next week with a better one.
Yes, but so along with the wings, not very many people have said much about it. A former monk also agrees with me about the copyright infringement. There is some rumours of new hairstyles and new hairstyles and outfit, but this hasn't been confirmed. So I'm just going to put the link in paste. There we go. This link is to a Azura model that Shaman modeled, and you remember the Mesmer outfit. Hang on, let me see. I almost just pulled my.
That's Casey. You've muted your mic.
It's not me. My thing automatically mutes itself now. So you remember that there was a model, like they showed you the Guild Wars 1 Mesmer next to the Guild Wars 2 Mesmer, and they were kind of had like similar outfits, and they were saying, this is what the new upgrades to it all is going to look like. Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that. How long ago was that?
Oh, when the game was first coming out. Here we go.
I don't remember that.
So let's see if I can put it up like that. So there's that. Can you see that all right?
It'll do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
So-
left a bit or right, one of them. No, other way. There you go. There we go. Yeah, it's in camera. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the Guild Wars 2 outfits, but the thing is that outfit never came out except for, I think Countess Anise wore it? No. Countess Anise wore the top, but she never wore the bottom. And everyone was like, no, we want that outfit, But it was only ever modelled on a human that we saw, and now we see it's modelled on an Azura. And it also has a matching mask, and so this kind of makes people think, oh my god, they're releasing a new armor set. They're finally using this old asset and releasing something that people really want. But also, this Azura has a new hairstyle that we've never seen before. And there's also a teaser image for the Black Wings that shows a woman with the black wings. And at the back of her hair, you see her hair's in a bun with little flowers on it. And if you follow me on Twitter, like when Drytop, the deeper part of the Harathi hinterland, the deeper part of the Drytop came out, where all the centaurs and everything like that, I actually posted a picture of a woman in one of the camps with a new hairstyle that had a bun with all flowers in her hair. And I said, oh, look, a new hairstyle. And then the very next update, they removed that hairstyle. So obviously they've got all these new hairstyles in their bank. And obviously this new outfit, so hopefully soon new hairstyles and a new outfit will be coming out soon. But this is a rumor. There's no like real confirmation about it.
When you said they've got all these hairstyles in the bank, I've just had this image of one dev just crazily working there doing new hairstyles every day. They've just got like hundreds of them ready to go.
One day they'll be published. So yeah, there's been like lots of stuff data mined lately. I don't know if we covered it, but a while ago there was the crystal outfits that looked like there were Zephyrite outfits.
Did we cover that?
But they never came out in the gem store.
We could just have a massive load of them at Heart of Thorns release. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, you
no.
you go, yeah, and like I cut you off, and I was like,
No, I was just thinking, I'm like, they're trying to keep people interested, and that will come on that later point.
Yes,
we'll talk about later in the show.
A bit later. So moving on from data mine stuff then, is we're going to get into the two big things we're talking about today. The first one is all about meeting the Wyvern, which is a blog post they did on Thursday. And we talked a little bit about it last week when we got to see it in the Points of Interest live stream. I'm not sure if we were meant to see it or not, but I guess we were. So the big things that are coming with the Wyvern then are, they talked about in the book post changes to Defiance. So we got a proper explanation of what happens. So it's basically when you have this bar, the new Defiance bar, and when it becomes available, different CC you apply will notch it down till when it's at 0, essentially your next crowd control ability will hit, and will go through to the boss. And what's really interesting is they've taken it a step further with this Wyvern boss, and the Defiance bar only becomes available in certain stages. So it has 2 stages, this boss. It has like a ground stage and then like a stage where it flies up into the air and shoots just fire just everywhere. And as it's about to take off, the Defiance bar becomes available, and if you can get enough CC on it in time, and your next CC lands, then it'll stop it from taking off and doing that big aerial attack. And I'm assuming it'll just stay on the ground and not try it again for a while.
That's cool.
Which I think is really cool, actually. It's a really nice way to kind of incorporate new Defiance rather than just like having the bar available all the time, where you could just kind of stun it whenever. I think it's really interesting how it's only available for like a really short period of time, and you really have to coordinate yourselves to like CC now kind of thing, to kind of stop it from doing its attack. So what find really interesting is how they're going to apply it to older bosses, because they've said obviously this thing will be applied to older bosses, but will we have similar sorts of things where new mechanics are entered just so you can use CC to stop like specific phases, or is it just going to be where the Defiance bar is available all the time on the older bosses? What do you reckon? Do you think they take the liberty of overhauling all the old bosses with Defiance? I kind of don't.
I think maybe some select bosses will. For example, the temples in the Cursed Shore and that sort of thing. And also they'll need to teach new players how this works. So hopefully personal story will get some bosses that, you know, so that people have experience with this new crowd control ability and they can learn it through the personal story. And, you know, maybe in lower level areas they need to put in maybe a few with it so you can learn. Do I sound like a robot?
No, you're fine. I saw your face go when, like, I think I saw it was lagging earlier, and you were just like, oh my god.
I was like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't ask me a question. Just keep talking, Rowan. Yeah, it completely cut out for a second for me. But, you know, your face is just a pancake right now, so I'll just talk to the lovely pancake right now. But I think they will overhaul some bosses, but I don't think that they will really, they won't give it the love that they will give this new area, you know, like the old bosses that aren't important, they'll just maybe get something slapdash, and the big bosses will get some love. Yeah, but it would be a big endeavour to apply it to the old game.
Yeah, there's so many bosses actually in the game. When you think about like bosses in dungeons, fractals, as well as open world stuff, there's just there's probably too many to do. I think they might maybe do like a staged approach if they wanted to redo all the old bosses, to just do like the new ones and a couple of select ones for now. Maybe like a year down the line, look at other ones. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. So Irajax from chat says the new Defiance stage is what Guild Wars 2 PvE needed from the beginning. Actual stages to a boss fight, not just the 5 Zerker and Cleave. Which I agree about. I really like that. And it's coming back to this whole new challenging content thing. It definitely feels much more organised, and like there's more mechanics to a fight than just sit there and press number 2 or 3 on your weapon skill, depending on which berserker you are. So yeah, I really like it.
A former monk just made a thing about, you know, unless the Defiance stops monsters from taking damage entirely, 5 Zerker will still be the meta. I think there's something really, you know, something to say about that. I don't think ArenaNet is trying, I don't know if they're actually trying to get rid of the 5 Zerker meta, because the game is about choice, and if they force you into, you have to have, you know, you have to have not 5 Zerker meta, that's removing choice, and I think that maybe the solution would be to make 5 Zerker meta harder, so that you have to be better at it, to the point where regular players can't actually do the Zerker. You know, you have to be pro, you have to dodge everything to, you know, because if they just make it so it's impossible for 5 Zerker metas to do it, you're just taking away choice away from the game and telling players that they can't play the way that they want to.
I guess, I mean, to counter that though, if you're saying, with your suggestion that only like experienced veteran players could do Berserker, in a way that's kind of taking away choice for new players as well, if they find it essentially impossible to do, because it's so, I mean, a lot of people I feel struggle with Berserker enough as it is at the moment. I mean, especially if you're new to Berserker and you're something, I mean, when I first started Guardian Berserker for like the first week, I quite struggled with it because I didn't realise how squishy you were. 'Cause you think, yeah, you're a Guardian, heavy class, and then you realise you have the lowest base health in the game and you get like one hit by things. So yeah, I think it takes a while to get used to regardless. I don't think nerfing Zerker is the answer. I think buffing other things to the point that they're as good as Zerker is the answer, and intelligent boss and like fight design to require different things. So like for now, like, I think Berserker's always going to be the highest DPS, and like, but I think if you can get things like condition damage to good damage, to like a good DPS level, if you can get things like supporty, crowd control-y things to a point where they're not needed, but they're really useful and are completely viable over just another Zerker, then I think that's probably the best way to do it, in my opinion. I think the problem with like nerfing Zerker is then the problem with nerfing the best is everything just becomes a little bit worse then, and it's not really fun for anyone. I mean, so the example I'm going to use is, because I play League of Legends a lot, and at the moment there's a real big thing about the developer nerfing a lot of the champions and people are like, well, just buff other ones to compensate for them, because it's kind of like you nerf the good ones and then the whole tier of champions you play are just rubbish essentially. So I definitely think like buffing, condition damage, support, even like cleric tanky things would be the better option here.
There's a lot of stuff going in chat.
I've missed it.
It seems like Infamous X Reflex says that 10 kilo DPS that they said that they would. Tactical Unit says that 10 kilo DPS might be having a comeback, and then Infamous X Reflex says he doesn't think so. He thinks that they would have said something about it, and I agree. I don't think they're actually going to bring that back.
I don't think we're going to get that.
Yeah, and I think a former monk not nerfing the good stuff and buffing the bad stuff results in a power creep, which is not good.
I can see.
I don't think it's the easy thing to answer. I think no matter which way you answer it, there's never going to be a perfect solution to this.
I don't think Berserker needs particularly any more nerfing. Berserker only becomes a problem when you've got like 3, 4, 5 Berserkers all together. I think if you make option, because at the end of the day, does everyone really enjoy running Berserker? I don't particularly think so. I mean, if I could play my Guardian another way, I probably would, because that's the original intention. When I started playing Guild Wars 2, I never assumed that like a year, 2 years down the line, it would be a full-on DPS class with like I'd get 2 hit in. I think if you give people the option to play other ways, you'd just naturally see a reduction in Zerker if other ways are as good as or as useful as a Berserker in different aspects.
I think maybe we should pull out of the Zerker talk, because we've talked about it a lot. And it's one of those things that you can say the same things over and over and the points will still be valid every time, that sort of thing.
So the other thing with the Wyvern then is some cool new visual effects that are coming with it. And they've kind of for Heart of Thorns, it seems like they've been looking at the actual technology they use in the game quite a lot, because we've had new tech for the Revenant skills, we've got new camera tech coming this month, we've got new sort of tech for the Wyverns, new textures, new fire effects, and what I think is really cool is they're reusing. So the way when you get poisoned, your character just turns all green. They've updated that technology so that in the Wyvern now, when it's going to use its fire breath thing, because obviously all dragons have to have that ability, it's sort of like its belly and then its throat and mouth kind of glow as the fire like builds up inside it, which I think is really cool. And so they're reusing that technology to kind of apply different textures to the Wyvern as it so it kind of telegraphs its fire breath, which is another really cool thing. 'Cause I think if the amount of it sounds like the amount of telegraphing they're doing means it's going to really, really hurt, which I quite like. It's another mechanic which I think is going to be really cool. So that's just another thing I want to bring out.
I have to say that the visual effects in Guild Wars are amazing. The only time that they get really painful is when there's a lot of them together. And I often find in the Vinerath fight, sometimes Vinerath fight is a lot better actually. I shouldn't say that because there's 3 lanes, so the play base is split between 3 people. But when everyone comes together on one champion, it is impossible to see what the boss is doing. And I find even sometimes in dungeons, I find it like if the bosses move, like for example, the Cola fight in AC, his pullback move, you know, before he does his big spinny death blade thing, his pullback move. But sometimes if someone's using like freaking every single effect under the sun, or you've got 2 elementalists in your party, it's really hard to spot when he's doing that. So it would be really cool if they can apply some of these new visual effects to help with that, you know, the particle effects and these very unique ones to help you kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really, I feel like it's more immersive when you have these like big build-up things rather than just, oh, there's a red circle on the ground. I need to dodge something. I don't know what, but I need to dodge something here.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that it's more immersive and it makes you. I don't know. I think it's just more fun overall. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying about the circle. I've actually noticed in the new coloured circles, they didn't want to use those because they are a bit, you know, they're really intrusive, but they work. They tell you what to avoid. Sometimes, like, you can kind of see the effect on the side, and it kind of gives you an idea of what maybe is coming and stuff like that. And, like, the shape is, like, longer, you know, for the new dredge boss and stuff like that, which gives you a good idea of what is coming. So that, I think they're really on the great path. So should we move on to the camera changes, the new camera stuff that they discussed? We are super excited about this. On the latest Ready Up, they did some things telling us, or showing us, I should say, about the new camera changes, and they look amazing. So, Rowan, if you wanted to put the link in chat, if you don't mind. So, you're right on track, buddy. So this is a link to Dolphy's notes, because Dolphy is amazing, and it's very nice of her to do all these notes for us to make our job easier. But there's a new thing which is collision sensitivity, and it says enables the lowest functional setting by default. Half of your screen will need to be filled up by the collision object to cause the camera to snap to your character. So I think this will make jumping puzzles a lot better for me. I get motion sickness like crazy, especially in the trolls and jumping puzzle, and sometimes just dungeons that are close quarters, I get motion sick. So this apparently will help with that.
Yeah,
apparently.
Have you seen the did you watch the live stream of it?
I did not.
Yeah, it's so the video they show is in they show one in a wood somewhere and one in LA, and they have like all these poles in front of the character. And with the old one, every time you go past a pole, the camera goes woo, and then like in it out again. And with the new one, it just smoothly like goes on past, and it looks so much better. And I like the fact that you can choose like how many objects are between you and the camera before it snaps in.
Yeah,
I really like that, and it just looks so much better. And I never particularly thought about it as a problem until it was pointed out when I watched the live stream, and I was like, you know what? I really hate that. I've never thought about it before, but I really hate it.
Yeah.
And
that that goes. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's such a good change. So yeah.
And I've always had a problem with the field of view. I wish you could change it because I'm very sensitive to field of view, and that makes me feel really sick sometimes and stuff like that. And so they've got different field of view sliders, which is awesome for me because as far as that you can go is wonderful. So the new field of view is going to make me so happy, and there's actually a really cool picture on the thing showing the current field of view and max field of view and the minimum field of view. And I have to say the minimum field of view makes you feel so much like in your character's business, like close up, and the max field of view makes you feel like, oh my god, this is epic, sort of. You can see everything a lot better.
It's so good. They did in the live stream, they did like a side-by-side comparison of like the old camera settings and the new ones, going down Denise's reach, and it just looks so good in like the new ones. Like you could see the skyline and the floor and all the buildings. I was like, was it always that tall up there? Because I rarely, like, you actually don't realize realize how much you're missing. Wait until you see the new camera changes, and you're like, you know what, this game looks so much better than I actually realized. Like, because you kind of just get used to those old camera settings. When you see it really opened up, you're like, you know what, they did quite a good job here. So.
And just imagine how much more awesome that's going to be with finally the new first-person camera. Yes. Finally, we've been asking, and it was just a gosh darn shame for this. Oh gosh, I sound old when I say it like that. It was just such a big shame that the game wasn't released with first-person camera, because you cannot really experience the amazingness of the scenery and everything without first-person camera. And can you imagine how awesome it would be if someone got Oculus Rift working on it?
I think there's
that
already,
would be
a thread to update Oculus Rift with it all now, so it should be coming soon to an Oculus near you.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be really good.
So first-person camera is something I'm really looking forward to. It's so sorry, you're so fuzzy. There must be a bit of lag because I all of a sudden keep talking over you. I'm so sorry. But the first person looks pretty cool. It looks like it does account for, and it says here, it does account for, you can see your skills activate and projectiles coming towards you. They've always had the projectiles coming towards you in the game, but now you'll actually properly be able to see it. And I think first-person camera, I don't think will be great for attacking, but no. It's just going to make you be able to experience the game just so much better. They showed a tiny bit of combat with it, with like a Guardian Scepter, and you just saw like orbs flying out. Apparently the guy they had on Ready Up who did it had tried it in PvP, I think, and he said it wasn't that bad. But I personally wouldn't want to do it, like, no way.
At all. But yeah, I was going to say something. I was going to bring up some chat. So a former monk talking about all the changes generally said nothing will make jumping puzzles better. They're awful and should not be part of game design. I agree with the first bit. Do I agree with the second bit as well? I don't know.
Jumping puzzles are so much fun.
I'm terrible at them though.
I know, but that's because you're terrible at them, not because they're bad.
So yeah, apparently one of their testing grounds was Troll's End from Max Height Norn, and it all looks like really good now. So it's
cool.
It should be good. I said that camera changes. So, oh my god, I need a drink. God, okay. So the next thing we're going to move on to then is, we kind of wanted to touch on the fact that there's been a break in the Living Story, and we haven't, we're kind of between, I was going to say between expansions, between a expansion and the old Living Story, and we kind of just wanted to touch on the lack of stuff that's been happening, I guess. I mean, we had the Lunar New Year things. I actually didn't participate in it at all this year. In my defense, I was making that beautiful Canthan magazine. I was spending so much time on that I didn't actually get to play any of the Lunar
But
New
honestly, the Canthan New Year was basically, you log in, you buy a bunch of letters. It was basically lucky dip, and you almost guaranteed to make a lot of thing, and then Dragon Ball, and that was it. I barely logged on for either except to get my letters.
Well, there you go then. So one thing we don't talk about then is, are we losing interest in Guild Wars 2 since there's not entirely that much going on at the moment? I mean, I know you.
I just want to quickly say, audience, please let us know how you've been doing with the break, and let us know your opinions, so we can talk about it and tell us how you're feeling about this break. But please go on, Ron. I just wanted to quickly put that out there.
I was going to hand it over to you, because we talked a little bit about this before the show. So do you want to share your thoughts?
Yeah. So I just haven't been logging on recently, and not because I've lost interest in the game or anything like that. It's just, I just don't really have an interest right now. When I get on, it's to do a dungeon, and I've had terrible luck with dungeons lately. I have no stable dungeon running guild anymore, and I've tried to do a few things like run a solo Ara, but it's difficult, and I don't have anyone to do it with. But so basically, I've done all of the silver weights. I've achieved most of the stuff that I really, really, really want to do, and now I'm kind of stuck in this little area of like, well, there's nothing really keeping me here, so I kind of lose a little bit of interest. So I haven't actually been logging on at all. And so I've noticed that the living story was a big thing that was keeping me coming back every day, every week, to complete it or something like that. And now it's just like, well, I only log on when the gem store updates. And that's a big thing that we were talking about before, was that the gem store seems to be the thing that's pulling people in. But we'll talk about that later. How have you been going through the break?
So I've actually kind of been logging in more than I used to. I think a month or two ago, I wasn't logging in that much. I was kind of in the place you were now. I think it was right after the living story ended, and I knew that nothing was coming. I was like, didn't really log in that much. Now I've logged in more just because at the moment I'm finishing off my ascended armor, so that's probably what's keeping me logged in, just to like, I tend to log in with the intention of just doing the daily crafting, and then I end up doing like some dungeons or silver waste or something as well. But I mean, I've only got 5 more days on that before my ascended armor's done, and after that, I don't know then. I mean, I'll probably stick around for a couple more days to actually use the armor, but yeah, it's different. So a former monk in chat says, have you done a legendary, Casey? You have, haven't you? You've done 2, haven't you?
I've done 2.
So I'm considering working.
But I'm working on the Bifrost right now. Oh, sorry, it's so laggy.
I'm considering working on a second one. I don't know if I want to or not really. I mean, I want to have everything. So I want Twilight basically just to have Eternity, because I want to be one of those people who wants 2 legendaries in one. And
one of those people.
Yeah. I don't know if I can be bothered grinding for it at the moment. The only reason I want it is because of the new precursor crafting that's coming. So I kind of want everything before Heart of Thorns releases, just so I could do the precursor stuff and then have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm playing a bit, not as much as I used to, and I definitely agree with you. The living story was what kept me logging in for the most part and coming back to it. So there's so Erijack says, I think they're drip feeding us far too slowly. People think the Heart of Thorns release is going to be August, but with how slowly they feed us info, I can't see it. I think it's going to be around August, because it makes they're at am I allowed to say this? I don't think I am, actually. Shush. So I think
just keep going.
Yeah, I think it will be around. I don't know the release date or anything. That's not what I was on about. So I think it will be around August, because it's Guild Wars 2's fourth anniversary. Help me. Third.
Yeah, third.
There we go. 3rd anniversary.
Yeah.
So it makes most sense to be around there. It feels like, and that's when all the later conventions, well, the next load of conventions are as well, after PAX East and Resd. So it makes sense for them to release around then and be like, hey, come and look at our fully playable Heart of Thorns demo and buy the expansion today, sort of thing. So it makes the most sense to me. I know they said after PAX East and Res they're going to be moving into closed beta testing quite quickly after that. So and generally with Guild Wars 2's release, after they moved quickly after beta testing to actually release the game, because we had like 3 beta weekends, didn't we? And then it was like, what, a few weeks later the game was released or something like that, which was quite shocking to me. But we've been over that. We're past that now. So yeah,
like 2 years past that.
So yeah, I do think it'll be around August.
So the big question is can Gem Store and holidays like the Lunar Festival, which is very, something that someone in Arena can knock up in a week, sporadically, are they going to be enough to sustain us or sustain the general population until Heart of Thorns comes out?
I don't know. I'm going to say probably not. I mean, Gem Store is no substitute for actual content. is it? So I don't see a large portion of the player base going, yes, I'm going to log in and play Guild Wars 2 because there's new gem store stuff this week.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, a lot of people got very excited about the Black Wings.
Yeah.
You're an exception. But you're right. It's one of those things is that people buy stuff on the gem store because they play the game a lot. You know, it's not the other way around. So, and it was very odd to me that ArenaNet was like content every 2 weeks, bam, 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 and then they're like, oh yeah, now we're stopping now, like. That's it. Not going to be doing it for like half a year, and that's really odd to me.
I mean, yeah, looking back, season 2 was more sporadic than season 1 because season 1, although we jumped around a lot in it, it was actually quite consistent. Like we still had content like every 2 weeks. Season 2, we went for like a month or two, and then we'd stop for like Winter's Day, and then we'd have 2 more releases, and we'd stop forever. Like it felt much more.
Very odd.
The content in it was great, but the delivery was less than great, in my opinion, in terms of when they delivered it.
But it seems like they're just trying a new delivery method with this expansion, so I'm quite happy about that. But I am concerned that it's a long time for no content for a player base that is very used to content. And that could be just spoiled, but when facts come to facts, you know, it's a game that kind of relied on the fact that there was new content coming out quite often. So
exactly.
I'm not sure. Like maybe next week I'll have a renewed vigor and go back into it. But it is very natural for especially MMO games. Like I've been playing this for 2 years now. It is impossible for someone to play a game 2 years without having a month break from it sometime to go and play another game or something like that. I mean, I can't remember when I got Dragon Age 3, I didn't play it for a month, so it's very natural, but it is one of those things that I am very concerned about the break.
You know what we haven't done yet? We still haven't done multiplayer together on that game, and we were like, when it came out, we were all in chat like, oh my god, we're gonna do it, and we're never gonna podcast again because we're always on that, and it never happened.
We'll discuss this afterwards, because otherwise we'll get into this massive discussion about Dragon Age.
You know what? I was actually going to bring up dragons and Dragon Age when we are going to talk about the Wyvern, but I controlled myself. I thought, no, you brought it up enough back in November. So yeah, I think the thing about Guild Wars 2 is it's an MMO you can easily take a break from and not feel guilty about. I mean, we've talked about this before. The fact there's no sub fee, you don't feel like you have to play just to justify it, and. Maybe Guild Wars 2 doesn't need to be the game that always has to have updates and you always need to feel like you can log into. I mean, it is marketed or seen as like more of the casual spectrum of MMOs, and I feel like that's not necessarily entirely a bad thing. And I can see what you're typing in the show notes slowly, Channa.
I just remembered it and I didn't want to forget it because I want to.
My face just went smile when I read that. I was like, oh yeah. So do you want to bring it up since it was your point?
Sorry for interrupting halfway through your conversation. So if we remember, the first SAD came out in April, as if April's Fool's thing. So I'm wondering, they've announced we've gotten in trouble for this whole SAB thing before, though. I feel like it's one of those things that always gets us burned. But will SAB come out again this April? Because it would be really nice for it to come back again. It would mean that there's actually something for us to do, and we know that they were working on it. Well, they had plans to work on it. Personally, I've been burned too many times. I don't think SAB is coming in April, but there is a tiny, itty-bitty chance. And if there is an itty-bitty chance, I guarantee that there will be a stream of Rowan and us playing a drinking game.
Oh my, yes, that's happening. if anyone from Arena is watching this, bring back SAB just to see that.
Just to see just how dumb Casey gets when she's on the drink. Like, you think I'm airbrain, scatterbrain right now? You don't know nothing.
I mean, Josh Foreman is the one that oversees it, isn't he? That's the right person, isn't it? I hope so. Yeah, I think so. We haven't heard from him in a while, have we? I mean, do we know if he's if he's doing anything with Heart of Thorns? Because he could be potentially sat there right now fiddling with Sab, getting it,
I hope so.
you know, adding to it or redoing parts of it. I mean, it would make sense as something to tide players over during April, because I think their big thing was to keep people hyped. Now was they like, oh yeah, we've got these conventions coming up, stay tuned for that. And I think once those conventions are over, then everyone's going to be like, So I could see Sab coming back then. I mean,
and it's an excellent filler with no lore ties, so
yeah, absolutely.
But there is a concern, is that they were building a lore story behind it with the genie, and last time we did it, they ended on a very peculiar note that, you know, the game was influencing you to sabotage things in real life for an Azura. So hopefully this is just a side story that they can just be like, no, it has no connection to the lore of anything else. It's just a side story. And they can just like continue this story that has no thing with Heart of Thorns. That would be awesome.
Yeah. And poor Monk in chat says, I think they should just sell Sab as its own game, finish it, put in a character creator, and throw it up on Steam for $5 to $15. That'd be such. I would actually buy it as well. It'd be so cool.
How annoyed must Josh Foreman or whoever who created Sab be? Like, this could have been a personal project. I created this whole thing. But I mean, that shows passion for the company. Like, you know, if people are disillusioned with companies, because I've seen it before, they'll like have ideas and they'll like, instead of giving it to the company, they'll keep it. But Josh Foreman was so passionate about this project. He imbued it into this game, and it just turned out to be just such a wonderful part of the game.
It's so good. So yeah, that's everything we were going to discuss this week. Have you got anything else you want to bring up? It's been
Sab was my last brainstorm.
Yeah, it's been. We've actually done alright. Actually, we've gone for an hour on very little news, I guess, this week.
Yeah.
Next week we'll probably have loads, because obviously it is the PAX East weekend. GuildMag will have a presence there, so make sure you stay tuned on guildmag.com, on our Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everything, and we'll keep you updated with what's going on there. And yeah, so make sure, remember, issue 14 came out last week. Go and check that out. If you not if you fancy it, just go and check it out. You have no option. Remember, we are of course live every Sunday 10 AM GMT at twitch.tv/guildmag if you've just tuned in, or if you've missed this show, or if you're watching it on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch so you can see when we stream. We do occasionally stream at random times, and of course Casey has her Lore and Explore stream every Thursday at 10 AM. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously don't forget to subscribe, because we have all amazing content on that. And that's about it, I think. Can't think of anything else.
Nice outro.
Thank you.
You covered everything.
I'm getting good at this. Anyone
and
would
it
think...
took 20 episodes and all the ones we did before that.
So yeah, big thank you to everyone who's joined us in chat today. Remember to leave us a comment on YouTube or guildmag.com if you're not joining us live. And we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it from me and Casey. So bye, guys.
Oh. See ya. I got caught up in my wire.
See you guys.